All right, folks, Yishai Fleischer here. You know, there are some folks in the media and in politics that can't stand the idea that there are new ideas. They can't stand the idea that their ideas for Gaza, for Judea and Samaria, for Israel are outmoded, are outdated, are failures, have brought pain and suffering to Arabs, to Jews, to this region. They just want to keep pushing it forward. Maybe that's what their career is dependent on. Maybe they're making money off of that. Maybe they think that's what their constituents want. But the point is their ideas are outdated, and yet they're still smug, and haughty, and just looking down on everybody and saying, these new ideas are just useless, because our useless ideas are the ones that have to keep going. They're the ones that we got to keep pushing forward. Such two gentlemen are Fareed Zakaria of CNN, a man who's not pro-Israel. He's been anti-Israel. He comes from a Muslim home. He doesn't call himself Muslim. He says that he's a secularist. But in any case, he does not have a love for Israel. And another person is Richard Haass, who is the head of the Council for Foreign Relations for 20 years. Now he's emeritus there. He's Jewish, but his positions on Israel are to keep shrinking Israel and to weaken it. And he offers the same old tired arguments that we've heard forever. But now they're together, Fareed and Richard Haass, and they have a little snooty debate about the changes that are trying to take place. They want to keep the old calcified ideas going. Let's be the fly on the wall with Richard Haass and Fareed Zakaria of CNN.
So, Richard, let's start with Gaza. You know that region very well. What do you think? You know, there are a lot of people who say, well, this is out of the box thinking. Maybe it stirs things up. What do you think Trump's proposal on Gaza has done on the ground?
It's out of the box, but doesn't mean it's better. Just because the box isn't working. There's policy failures over the years. I think on the ground, Fareed, it probably plays into Hamas's hands. They can say, look, there's no chance of any compromise working. We right all along to be maximalists.
Wait a minute. Wait. Let me get this straight. So they were right all along to be maximalists because they were unsure whether there could be a middle ground or a peaceful way forward. And therefore they decided that, gosh, there's no way we can come to any kind of agreement with the Israelis, so we might as well be maximalist. Is that what you're saying, Richard? Now, my friends, one of the tricks out there that is a recurring trick of the Israel haters and the Israel shrinkers is that they don't mention that Hamas is a jihadist organization. Jihad. They don't hate Israel because Israel won't compromise. They hate Israel because Israel exists. How do I know? Read the charter. Just go to Wikipedia, read the charter, type in Hamas charter. You can read it for yourself. They want to destroy Israel for an Islamic reason. They were never looking for a compromise. But people like Richard Haass is like, well, you know, when they see that there's no compromise, then, you know, they're just going to be maximalist. Hello? What are you talking about? They're maximalists because they're jihadists and they want to destroy Israel. They were never into compromise.
Yahya Sinwar was also among the prisoners released in the Hamas-Israel prisoner swap. For now, the military wing of Hamas is maintaining a ceasefire with Israel, but Yahya Sinwar says the Al-Qassams will have to fight again, and he will join them.
Let's understand who we're dealing with in the first place. Whenever we have compromised with them, what has happened? Wait a minute. Hold on. Brain flash. I'm remembering something. Didn't we give away the Gaza Strip to the PLO, and then it was taken over by the Hamas in 2005? I mean, didn't we compromise by giving away our land to them? And then they turned it into a terror network, a militarized zone, a forward base of the jihad. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's such a subtle, haughty, smug little lie. Oh, yes. Well, you know, they just, if they sense that Israel won't compromise, then, you know, they'll be maximalist. Yeah. Like we didn't compromise our land and give them our land stupidly, because when you stupidly give your land to the jihad, they don't compromise back. So these are the little lies. And by the way, this video, as of my filming, has been seen 1.7 million times. So Fareed Zakaria has got a viewership. And so these little lies are just being, you know, touted out there. Yeah, well, let's keep going and see what other smugness we can find.
For the Israeli right, this is what, a gift from heaven. This is manna from heaven. Their whole policy is to deny Palestinian nationalism. Transfer of people out of Gaza is for them the perfect precedent, because what they really want is transfer of 3 million more Palestinians out of the West Bank, or what they call Judea and Samaria. Plus, it shows, Fareed, even more worrisome, if things get violent enough, it creates conditions which some will then point to and say, we therefore need to transfer.
Things get violent enough. Things get violent enough. Like now things are, because of the Trump proposal, things are going to get violent. Have you heard about October the 7th? Have you heard that the Hamas and the many Gazans who supported them planned a big attack on Israel and murdered tons of people, 1,200 people, and then 500 more soldiers have died since fighting? Like, there's going to be conditions for violence. There might be conditions for violence. We don't want that. How do you think we got here? Why do you think there's a Trump proposal on the table to do something different? Because of the horrible violence. And then what bothers me to no end is, have you seen the conditions of Gaza right now? Do you have even a heart at all for the Gazan people? Or are you in fact a person who wants endless conflict? You see, there are tons of people out there who want endless conflict. Richard Haass, in his 20 years at the Council of Foreign Relations, has done nothing to stem the tide of violence, and he doesn't care a lick for the people right now. So yeah, there is people on the Israeli right. That's me. I'm on the Israeli right. I'm a settler. Who definitely don't want to see jihadists in Gaza and in Judea and Samaria. I think we have every right for that. I don't want to see neo-Nazis in or around my borders, in my land or around my borders. I think that's right. I don't think I have to suffer on the jihadist threat constantly. I don't think that decent Arab people have to suffer under jihad, like the decent Iranian people who are suffering under a jihadist regime. Who wants that? It's garbage. It's not good for anybody. And here comes a new idea, becomes Richard Haass. He's like, well, the conditions might lead to violence. They might lead to violence. There was no October 7th. It didn't happen. The last 20 years of Hamas control in Gaza with their constant rocketeering and tunneling, well, it might lead to violence. Yeah, it's already led to violence, bro. And it's time to change the way of thinking. You are an old, calcified political thinker. I don't even know what your motivations are, but you have failed. Your positions have failed. And you should own it and say, that's right, we failed. And now it's time for new ideas. And yeah, we should get rid of the jihad. And yeah, the Gazan people are living horribly under horrible conditions. Maybe we should find a different place for them. But no, Richard does not think so.
What does that do? It incentivizes the dynamic on the West Bank to become more and more violent. So Palestinians will get more radical. Israeli settlers and defense forces will get more combative. This is not a good dynamic.
So it encourages the radicals on both sides.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, what a narrative. It encourages the radicals on both sides. That's such a great narrative. It encourages the radicals on both sides because we are people of the middle. We are people of the middle. We don't want to listen to, we don't want to follow any radical ideas because we're against radicalism. Radicalism is what Hamas is. Radicalism is what the PLO-PA is. And now it's time for radical ideas to get rid of radicals. Yeah, it's time for a radical idea to get rid of radicals. It's true. And calcified ideas where basically Hamas digs in, brainwashes more kids, shoots and kills decent people who think differently than them. That's the centrist position. You are quietly supporting the Hamas. You are quietly supporting the jihad. You just don't want Israel to move. You don't want things to change. You want them to dig in. You want the bad guys to get more of a grip on the land and a chokehold on society. And you posture it as centrism, and that is such a fraud.
Absolutely.
And what do you think Trump was thinking? You've talked to him. What's going on?
My own sense is he comes from a world of deals, and you can always sprinkle in new incentives. Oh, if this doesn't work, what about this? What about that? What I think he's missing from the world of real estate is this is not something that can be easily bought off. What are the two most powerful things? You and I have spent a lot of time talking about the Middle East. One is nationalism. Virtually everyone in the Middle East coming out of World War II wanted a state of their own. Zionism was getting a state of their own for the Jews. Palestinians and the Kurds have been denied it.
Oh my God. He just put together Palestinianism and the Kurds and put us to the side. It's like Israel and Palestinians and the Kurds. The Kurds are an ancient people. They have a separate language. They have a separate way of life, a separate culture. They have been denied their rights by Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Syria. The Jews have been expelled from all the Arab countries, have yearned to get back home for 2,000 years and rebuild the Jewish state. We had 2 commonwealths here previous. There is no Palestinian people. They did not exist before the 20s when anti-Israelism, jihadist, Muslim anti-Israelism formulated this thing that there's a Palestinian people in order to get the West to buy into it. Listen to the Arab leaders. They say all the time, well, there really isn't anything called Palestinian or Palestine. There's no history of it, right? The Palestinians started coming to Israel in the late 19th century because they wanted to prosper from the Jewish economy, the economic matrix that was forming around the nascent Jewish state. The Kurds are allies of Israel, and we should support them in their seeking of statehood. Absolutely should support them. They, by the way, are anti-jihad. Palestinians are in no way part of the story of the Kurds and the Jews. They simply are not. And if you ask many of them today in Gaza, they'll say, yeah, give us a chance to go somewhere else. There's plenty of videos of them saying, we want to go elsewhere. We don't want to live in this accursed land, and we don't want to be pawns of Palestinianism, Islamic-ism, jihad-ism, or Richard Haassism.
أنه قرار سلم خلاص معايا هبل هذا اللي بيسويه هبل قتل شعبه السنوار قتل شعبه
وين العدالة؟ هو هذا الحكم اللي بيحكمنا يا سنوار وهنية ابن المسؤول الحمساوي بقى عمره 20 سنة وله سيارة وله جب وله عمارة ومتجوز وله كل ما يملك وابن أولادنا لا يملكوا من الحياة شيء.
وبعدين بالنسبة للمقاومة اللي بتيجي بتخبى بين الناس، ليش تخبى بين الناس؟ يروح في جهنم يتخبى. يعني هذه شهادات من
اللي دمروا البلد واللي ابو العبد انت اكبر حنين. يا هنيه ويا عباس يا هنيه ويا عباس وين الكهرب وين الغاز وين الكهرب وين الغاز.
احنا دفعنا ثمن تذكرة حماس احنا دفعناها التذكرة لها.
بدي اوجه رسالتي الى حكومة حماس، حسبي الله عليك والله يلعنك ويلعن ابوك ويلعن اللي جابك والله يلعنك يا سنوار يا ابن الكلب. حسبي الله عليك دمرتنا.
We don't want to be pawns in the game of this colonialist white man guy who has a solution for us that means that we're going to continuously live in war. We actually want liberty and freedom like he has. Let us out of this jail, this construct of a jail made by the union of progressives and jihadists to keep the Gazans as prisoners so they continue to bash Israel over the head.
This denies it and kills off the chance. Second of all, it reinforces humiliation. And what did we learn around 9/11 and other times? Humiliation is a dangerously powerful human motivator. So I think this is actually not only going to buy things off, but rather it's going to inflame the situation.
You can't tell a Palestinian family, I'll build you a nicer house in Egypt. What they want is their own country.
100%.
Okay, you cannot buy off a Palestinian and tell him that he can have a house in Egypt. Have you asked them, Fareed Zakaria? Have you listened to the videos of them being like, just let us out?
افتح المعبر افتح المعبر
Iftah al-Ma'avar, open the borders. And wait a minute, is there a Palestinian diaspora? There's hundreds of thousands of Palestinians living in Chile. And there's a whole street in Paterson, New Jersey called Palestine. So clearly there are tons of Palestinians who are happy to live elsewhere. No, they would never want to live elsewhere. They're like, let me out. No, they would never want to live elsewhere. We want to keep them there as pawns against Israel. Let me out. I don't care. Just shut up. We're not going to put a Palestinian from Gaza on this video here and show what he actually wants. Like, he's like, just give me a passport. Just let me out. Just give me an opportunity like the rest. Let me move to America. Let me move to Australia. Let me move to Scotland. Let me move to Canada. Let me move to Spain. Let me move to Syria. Let me move to Egypt. Let me move to Jordan, the real Palestinian state. No. Fareed Zakaria, He's got their number. He knows that they don't want to move. They want to stay in the hovels of Gaza so that they can continue his war against Israel.
Man cannot live by bread alone. The idea that there's going to be a financial sop put forward that's going to assuage the desire for a country of their own is simply preposterous.
Really, really. And what exactly have you done? What exactly have you done to make peace in the Middle East? Nothing. All your policies have been failures. And comes a new player on the scene, President Trump, and also a new player, which was October 7th, a moment in time that has caused people to think differently and to shift gears. And indeed, I hope that Richard Haass and Fareed Zakaria, their boring, calcified ideas will go away. They are lemmings. They are tired. They have nothing to offer. And all they could do is look snootily down at new ideas and say, those will never work because our ideas work. Your ideas are failures, and it's time for you to go home. Well, I'll tell you who is coming home. The Jewish people are coming home, and you can be a part of that. First thing is help our broadcasts reach further by doing one of three things or all three. Like, subscribe, bell. All those things are ways for us to get out further and to be part of your life. So that's really important. Thanks a lot. When you do that, it helps the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, reach a lot more people. Also, you can become a sponsor of our programs through various means that make a tremendous difference. One is fightforisrael.org. That's all of our projects, our tractors, our beautification, and our spreading Torah throughout the world. Please join us at fightforisrael.org. And if you love our broadcasting, buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. Those are really easy, great ways to be a part of it. When we fight for Israel, we are also supporting our soldiers, and we pray for their security, their safety, and their healing for those who are injured. And of course, the hostages to come home. Let's finish off with a prayer that they are secure and home soon, and that Israel is stronger, bigger, and able to push back on the jihad and the haters. Folks, the bad guys out there have a lot more media than we do. They have a lot more media firepower. We can't let them shut us up. We can't let them drown out our truth. And therefore, we need your support. We need your prayers. The state of Israel, the Jewish people, freedom and liberty, push back on jihadism. These are values that are so important. Of course, the most important value of them all is to walk in the path of God and the path of Abraham. Please be part of our programming. Stay tuned, stay strong, stay connected. We send you blessings from the land of blessings, and shalom.